Hey there, friends and foes. Good morning, multiverse. This is not Saturday morning, it's Sunday morning, but we have a very special episode of Back of the Cereal Box for you to give an initial reaction to Deadpool and Wolverine and to address the big MCU news from San Diego Comic-Con. And I am your host, the prophet of pop culture, John Pyka. You can call me Johnny Beyond, if you dare. And we are going to do all of that with you live in the audience right after this.
Saturday morning, it's fun for all. Cartoons and cereal, let's have a ball. Comic books, kaiju, pro wrestling too. The fun is waiting for you. Back of the cereal box.
All right, friends and foes, this episode is a little bit different. It is Sunday morning, not Saturday morning, and I'm just flying solo this morning, kind of by the seat of my pants. And who am I? I'm John Pyka, the prophet of pop culture. Avengers comic books and Star Wars movies and Saturday morning cartoons made me who I am today. But Avengers comic books, Marvel Comics in particular, just shaped my entire youth. And I am a Marvel Comics shill. But Avengers comic books, I am an expert in. I have every issue from issue 56 to the current run. I've read every single story at least once, multiple times. And so the news from San Diego Comic-Con was so huge that I had to come live this morning to share my thoughts. So what is the big news? Well, if you've been sleeping under a rock, you may not have heard it, but this is the big news from San Diego Comic-Con. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the MCU, to the Avengers franchise, but not as Iron Man. He is not being resurrected. He is playing a completely different character. He is playing the villain, Dr. Doom. And the movie is called Avengers Doomsday, and it heralds the arrival of Dr. Doom. And the Russo brothers are returning to write and direct it, as well as the sequel, Avengers Secret Wars. What could this look like? Well, this is a fan poster of what Robert Downey Jr. might look like as Dr. Doom. Now, if you've seen the initial reactions from Sandy, and by the way, we have a very special guest in the back. You can hear my my Chihuahua, Handsome Jax. He's having a fit over something happening outside. I don't know what, but we're just going to pretend like he's not here. So if you hear him, just know that he's a jerk. I love him, but he's a jerk. Anyway, so if you didn't see the initial reaction, the crowd erupted into just pandemonium, chaos, applause, cheering. But as the announcement wore off, this morning, a lot of commentators are going online talking about how stupid it is. They don't understand it. Why would they be doing this? And here's my reaction. It took me completely by surprise. However, I don't think it's a bad idea. Fans have been begging for the MCU to bring Robert Downey Jr. back, to find some way to bring Iron Man back. Well, doing that, bringing Iron Man back, completely diminishes his sacrifice at the end of Endgame. And that would be horrible from a storytelling perspective. But, and this is just me shooting from the hip, because I'm going to reserve judgment until the movie. But I've had a theory for years, and I was the first person online to really present this theory on a forum called Avengers Forever. For those of you who want to check the tape, go back and find the Avengers Forever internet forum blog, and you will see I was the very first fan to ever suggest that I believe in the comics that Tony Stark eventually becomes Kang. Well, obviously that's not what they're doing because they've decided to set Kang aside. And Loki season 2 kind of resolved that storyline. It left it in a place where they don't have to continue it any further. Loki is now the god of stories. He is the ultimate arbitrator or arbiter of the multiverse. And they're going away from the multiverse. And they're going to focus on the story going forward. And they really laid out a great plan at San Diego Comic-Con. Fans have been begging for a set direction. We want to know where this is going, which we didn't know where it was going up through Endgame. We had an idea, but the first 2-3 phases of the MCU, the first 2 phases, there was no clear direction. They were just making it up as they went. And then they started over with phase 4, and immediately fans wanted to know, what direction is this franchise taking? And now we have it going into phase 6. And that is the arrival of Dr. Doom. Now, I posited that Tony Stark would become Kang in the comics. Well, maybe what is happening, Tony Stark isn't becoming Dr. Doom, but maybe Dr. Doom is a relative of Tony Stark. Or they're just going to use so many prosthetics, so much makeup, scar tissue, and whatnot that it won't even matter, because Robert Downey Jr. is that fine of an actor. He is maybe the finest actor of my generation. And we're the same age. Well, he's a few years older, but he is an outstanding actor, and he can easily play 2 different characters. If you look at his body of work, he's played such a broad range. But a lot of people are suspecting that the direction they're going to go is this direction. This is the infamous Iron Man. This is the Marvel Legends action figure. The infamous Iron Man, where Victor Von Doom got a hold of Tony Stark's armor when Tony Stark was deceased, and he became Iron Man in Tony Stark's place. Now, that would make sense from a story perspective, but to cast the same actor in both roles will really confuse audiences. I don't think this is the direction they're going to go. I could be wrong, but I don't think it is. I think because the next 2 Avengers films is Avengers Doomsday, they're going to introduce Dr. Doom through the Avengers, not the Fantastic Four, which I actually like. And Dr. Doom in the comics is a distant relative of Kang, a descendant of Kang, or Kang is a descendant of Tony Stark's. But then the next Avengers movie is Avengers Secret Wars. And in the original Marvel superhero Secret Wars, this was our Dr. Doom. Now, I would have loved for Michael Fassbender to play this part, or Henry Cavill. In Marvel superhero Secret Wars, Dr. Doom captures the power of the Beyonder. And he heals his face, and he tries to seize power. This might be the direction they're going. Or they might be introducing God Doom from the second Secret Wars. I guess it was literally the third Secret Wars. I know a lot of you are getting confused, but in the latest Secret Wars, there was Marvel Superhero Secret Wars, then there was Secret Wars 2, then there was The Secret War, and then there was just Secret Wars. And in no prefix Secret Wars, all of the incursions from the different worlds, and we've been introduced to the incursions through Doctor Strange and through Loki too, all of the incursions destroying these realities, little chunks and pieces of them were saved and became one planet that Dr. Doom became the ruler of. He was God Doom. Is that the way they're going? Possibly. Possibly. It's really hard to say. And I'm going to reserve judgment. I'm not going to say that this is a dumb idea or a great idea. I'm going to reserve judgment. I understand why they're doing it. Fans have clamored for this, and now they're getting what they asked for. And so many fans aren't happy about it. Listen, the fandoms that are the most fickle are Star Wars fans and Marvel Comics MCU fans. They can't be pleased. They can't be pleased. And even some fans are saying, well, bringing the Russo brothers back is a step backwards. It's going back to the way it was. Well, that's what fans have been begging for. And Marvel is just responding in kind. Look, the Russo brothers created four great Marvel movies. Captain America, the Winter Soldier, which is considered the gold standard. Captain America Civil War, which audiences loved. Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, which was the peak of Marvel's excellence, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And people loved them. So I'm going to trust them because at least two of the, well, I love all four of those movies, but two of them are among my top 10 favorite. So I'm going to trust the Russo brothers, and I'm going to trust the process. I'm not going to pass judgment on whether it's a good idea or a bad idea for Robert Downey Jr. to play Doom. But obviously, he's ready. He's excited, and he was quoted as saying, "Different mask, same mission." I love that. I love that. So I want to know what you guys think about Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom. Let's see. If you have comments, post them. Even if you're not watching this live, post your opinion about how you feel about Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom. I want to know. Now, since we're talking about the MCU, we can't ignore this next topic, but I have to acknowledge our Cereal Box Super Friends who make this programming possible at patreon.com/cerealboxpodcast. If you like what we do, if you like our programming, if you like our shows, then contribute, become a member of the community at patreon.com/cerealboxpodcast. The banner is running down below. And also brought to you by my book series, Tales of the Decoverse, the brand new volume 3, Rise of the Impossibilists, is on store shelves now. Get it wherever you get books. And we're also brought to you by Entertainment Earth, your source for all your action figures and collectible needs. And they have this Dr. Doom in the 2-pack with Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. And they have the infamous Iron Man, Dr. Doom. So you can pick those up from Entertainment Earth. The link will be in the show description. But we can't talk about the MCU without talking about this weekend's release, Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine. I went and saw it Friday night. That's a thing I did. And it's a movie that was made. I'm just going to be upfront and honest with you. I did not like it. I did not enjoy it. I didn't find it funny. I found it over the top vulgar, uncomfortably vulgar. I found it uncomfortably violent. First name of my new tongue, violent, uncomfortably violent, over the top violence that was unnecessary. The vulgarity, especially, every other word was the F word. I hate vulgarity in my media. I think it shows a lack of intelligence and it makes you look ignorant and like you can't use another word to express your feelings. So I hate it for that reason. I never liked Deadpool 1 and 2. And quite honestly, I don't like the character of Deadpool. I don't like the character of Wolverine. I think Deadpool is incredibly overrated. Wolverine is the most overrated comic book character ever created, maybe second only to Batman. I know all of you are screaming at the screen right now, but I loathe these characters to begin with. And then you add on top of it the ultra violence, the ultra vulgarity. And in the end, it had no impact on the MCU. Is Deadpool MCU Jesus? No. Did they give a much needed shot in the arm to box office receipts? Yes. Does this movie have any lasting impact for the MCU? No. No. And as a matter of fact, one of the main complaints I have about it is the timeline is all over the place. How did he get to Earth 616 and then back to, and why? And quite honestly, they have a legion of Deadpools in the void, but where's the legion of Lokis? What a missed opportunity. Deadpools versus Lokis. I did like the cameos. Jennifer Garner coming back as Elektra. Oh, I forgot to mention, full spoilers on this. Jennifer Garner as Elektra was great. She looked great. She moved great. She looks like she could jump right back into a feature film role in the MCU. Wesley Snipes comes back as Blade, and in his words, I'm the only Blade. He looked really good. He looked like he could play Blade again in the MCU Blade. Forget Ali. Let's recast Wesley Snipes. Let's bring him back as an elder statesman Blade. I would go for that. Gambit, he was kind of a funny cameo. Channing, what's his name? You know who I'm talking about. Not Tatum Channing. Channing Tatum. Forgive me. I'm not a fan of his, really. I mean, he's good in stuff that I see him in. Anyway, Channing Tatum. That's his name, right? Anyway, he plays Gambit. Exemplary job. I love the cameos by Azazel, by Lady Deathstrike, by Callisto. Even the TV Blade had a cameo. Great return by Juggernaut from X3. But the movie, quite frankly, was 2.5 hours of fan service. It was just mindless fan service, popcorn fan service that has no impact, no lasting ramifications. Now, I think it was clear that they are moving away from the multiverse saga with Deadpool and Wolverine. I think that point was clearly made in that movie. And from that perspective, maybe it did have some impact. But for lasting effects, how it sets up anything else in the MCU, nothing. This was strictly a standalone film that was fan service for, the edgelord fanboys who want an ultra violent, ultra vulgar, rated R Deadpool and Wolverine movie. They got it. You got it. Congratulations. You're welcome. I didn't like it at all. I can't recommend it to anyone. However, if you loved it, if you thought it was the bee's knees, I'm not going to yuck your yum. You go right ahead and love it. Not for me. Not for me. And for many of you in our audience, it's not for you either. There is an audience for every movie, every TV show. I'm not the audience for this movie. And some of you aren't either. It certainly did not exemplify the fun of the Saturday mornings of my youth, because if we had been watching that movie when I was 10 years old, that would have been a rated X movie when I was 10. Just to give you an idea how vulgar and how violent it is. It would have been rated X when I was 10 years old. And there are some of you who are going to disagree with me about that, but you know it's true. You know it's true. Do not take kids to see this movie. It's not for children. Oh, it's not for kids. This is not a comic book movie. It is a Marvel Universe movie. Anyway, that's an unpopular opinion. And some of you are going to send me hate mail. That's okay. You can post it in the comments. Let me know how much you hate my opinion. Well, before we say goodbye, I do want to thank our new sponsor, our new promotional partner, New South Pro Wrestling. We are going to be partnering with them on their shows coming up in October and November in Huntsville at Comic-Con and at their Star Wars show, Star Wars themed wrestling show. So excited about that. Check them out on our Facebook page or their Facebook page, New South Pro Wrestling. And as always, we want to give a big shout out to one of our promotional partners, our charity partner, Comic Books for Kids, since we're talking about comic book properties this Sunday morning.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.
They are awesome. Check them out and support them. And guys, we could not do this show without you, our Patreon supporters. So if you're not a Patreon supporter, consider joining that community. $1 a month is all it takes to get early access to everything. And at $2 a month, you get exclusive content. And you get to join us on screen. You get to share the camera with us like a call-in show. And at the VIP level, you get to host your own show once a month. So some great perks for our Patreon community. And consider joining that and being a part of that. And that's it for me. Until the next time, love you, mean it. We'll catch you on the back of the cereal box. Ta-da!
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi Strauss,